Welcome to FM Corner. I'm Danny Koontz, Director of Relationship Management for Windy City Equipment. With me today is Kevin Carringer. Kevin's Director of Facilities for Olive Garden and Darden. And we're going to continue last week's conversation where I'm kind of in the hot seat and Kevin's a moderator and he's asking all the questions. So I'll turn it over to him and see what the questions are for today.
Danny, again, thank you for being a good sport about this. I know that gives you a great opportunity to really express some gratitude that I know has been on your mind and heart since some of the recognition and awards over the years and just your past relationships with everyone at Riffman in the industry. So I'm going to start it off with, again, if you haven't listened to the first session, that was fantastic. I thought that was a lot of great life lessons there. Love it. And, to kind of start off our second segment here, just a comment from Tracy Thompson, who we both have a ton of respect for.
Yep.
You've got a fantastic relationship with. When we talk about retirement, and obviously, it's going to be new for you, and you've always been a hard charger, and I think at some point you're going to have to throttle back.
Yeah.
But her comments and guidance are that in preparing for retirement, avoid the culture shock. No one told me just how hard it was to settle into retirement. And she suggests having some hobbies and thoughtfully working to try and figure out how you want to fill your days and time. I think that's very good advice there. Try out some new things and maybe some things that you've imagined getting a chance to at some point. Now, she mentions gardening, and Danny, I'm going to tell you, none of your neighbors want you to garden.
No, I don't either.
We're not going to add that to the list of accomplishments. But she says, hey, most importantly, do things that give you some purpose and sense of accomplishment, and don't feel guilty about it. So I thought that was really good send off from Tracy.
It is, and she had spoke to me about retirement. We had a long conversation one day about it, and the surprises, and she snuck back in and done some things, part and so on, and that's what I want to do. And again, a big chunk of my career, Kevin, was I left on Monday and got home on Friday. 49 weeks a year, all the time. I never was there, and
Right.
I was gone more than I was there, and so I've had the ability working remote to have more time at home, which is good. And
Sure.
And I want to do that. I want to do some things with Adam. I've got some hobbies. I play a lot of golf and stuff like that. He coaches all the time, so there'll be things for me to do. But I think also I'm going to look for some part-time stuff to do, things like that. He and I may join together and do some volunteer work, and that would be good.
That
Because
would.
we're contributing and doing something. It'd be something he and I would do together. So I'm going to keep busy. I'm going to find something. I'm just, to your words, throttle it down, because that's what my doctor said. Throttle it down. Okay. I got it.
Well, hey, there's a lot of people that will be listening to this later and for some time in the future. And there's one common theme about one of your other family members, your son, and you just touched on it, Adam. And I'll open it up before I turn it over to you on this. But I think everybody's listening, wanting to hear a little bit about that relationship, a little bit about some of the fun things you guys get a chance to do, maybe some challenges, maybe some life lessons. Hey, I'll say this. I met Adam at when I was at Ruby Tuesday, and you talk about a hard-charging but lovable individual. He's what you really want to be as a leader, in the fact that he's very direct. He asks great questions. And then you talk about holding somebody accountable. I will speak to this real quick, and that is, he's still to this day. I think if we had him on here, he'd want to know what was I doing delaying the invoices.
Right.
And I know I got dinged on that. And he did some snooping around the office, evidently, and found out that I was holding a couple invoices. And as we both know, there's always a method to the madness on the timing.
Sure.
But to him, it should have been receive the invoice, pay the invoice. Sure. And technically, he's correct. And so I had to tip my hat to him and just say, "Hey, lesson learned. Won't happen again, Chief."
The funny part of that story is my wife was out of town, so I had to bring him to the office. And he was in the office. I said, "Go in there and help Carringer." And he went in there and he comes back and he comes wheeling out in that wheelchair down the hall to my office. And he goes, "Carringer's killing you. Invoices are taking way too long. I mean, you need to have a conversation now." I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
he was definitely a buzz about time management and my lack of it.
Yeah.
And so he was very clear to point out, as any good leader would, and that is, "Hey, your performance is unacceptable, Carringer." So
with the program.
Let me read just before you take off on this. Let me kind of give you some comments from everybody about Adam. It says, "Danny, I've watched your son's engagement in football as a fan, coach, mentor to younger boys and young men." This is from Jack McNerney. "I think it's wonderful how you and Robin have kept him engaged. What are some of the challenges of raising a child with special needs? And then we also know how travel has impacted your life over the years. How's that? You mentioned you can't wait to kind of get some time. You already have started more time with family, but it's already interesting just in your opening statement about how you're excited about finding some things to do with Adam." And so we're going to touch on that in just a second. But, I think from Quarter Camp here, what a great job Danny and Robin have with Adam. And he's always been quick to put in the needle to anyone he encountered. And I can attest to that. He's always referred to me as Quarter Camp says, he's always been referred to as the plumber guy. And we both know Jack's very successful.
Sure.
And so that's like calling the president, certainly something of a different status. I'll leave it at that. But,
sure, absolutely.
I think Adam has a unique way of ribbing people. He's got a wonderful heart, fantastic attitude, but obviously Robin's highly involved here. And, talk a little bit about that.
I think a couple of things. I think, Jack mentioned me being gone all the time and stuff. One of the benefits that we had early on was Robin worked at Ruby's when I did. That's how we met. So for me to be gone, she worked in the same building. She understood all the rules. She knew exactly what was going on inside the company. And I think that was huge because I've heard too many stories of people that the husband or the wife travels all the time and the other person's always, doesn't like it and so on and so forth. She might not have liked it, but she also knew that was part of the job. The same thing I did a long time ago, understanding she worked in accounting, and on the fourth Wednesday of the month, they had to close the books. And I had to be in town because I had to take care of Adam because she worked till 9 or 10 o'clock that night.
Sure.
Same thing. And so I think that was very beneficial for us, for Adam with special needs. I think, first is, what do we do when you're first told that this is what it's going to be? And okay, I got it. I understand it. I've accepted it. That's the way it is. Now I got to go figure out how to make it work. And what I did, Kevin, and what Robin did, we got very engaged. I joined the state of Alabama. We were living in Alabama at the time. I joined the state of Alabama cerebral palsy board. I'm going to know like the back of my hand what you can do, can't do, rules are, everything. And I will tell anybody that has a special needs child, school is a challenge. to get
Right.
what is supposed to be for you, to get, things done in a certain way. And you have challenges and you have to work at it really hard. It's not hard to do, it's just hard to get it moving. And I think Robin and my goals with Adam early on was we're going to do everything he possibly can do. And we will shield him from the things that he can't do. Like we won't go on a 20-mile hike in the mountains. It's not doable. Can't do it. I mean, if we live near the beach, you couldn't surf. I mean, there are
Right.
things that you're going to keep away. But if it's not that, we're going to do everything. He's going to the prom. He's going to college. He graduated college. He has a job.
Amazing.
We're going to do everything he can. And he, like his dad, is a huge sports person. Robin is too. She's learned. It's part of the deal. And Kevin, he has a great heart for
He
people.
does.
To answer Jack's question about special, what you do is you just learn it's different. That's all it is. It's different. And there are things that you do that other people don't. You have kids, they grow up, they move, and so on. That isn't how it works for us. We'll never work that way. And that's
Got
okay. That's great. We're preparing everything we can. And it's very important that Robin and I, the number one goal for us was we're giving him everything he wants and more. And if that sacrifices time between us or whatever, because one of us needs to be with him pretty much at all times, stuff like that, so be it. And that's exactly what we've done. And I am tremendously proud of his courage and what he's accomplished and what he does. And you saw me at Riffman. I'm not a choker. I'm not a crier. You know that. And when I got to the part about Adam is where I about lost it. And I'm just very proud. And so what we've done is, we go to Tennessee softball. We had season football tickets for 15 years. We had basketball for a while. High school, as you well know, he's 22 years in a row hadn't missed a game. And then he is a coach for 9 and 10-year-old kids, and what he has brought to some of them. I mean, I've listened to his coach talk about, you're out here kind of giving me half effort to some of the kids. Do you know what Adam would do if he had the opportunity to practice every day or play or whatever? And he can't. And he's
Right.
given you 120% of what he does. And that's coaching, watching film, talking to kids, and so on. And you can't give me the same effort. I mean, it matters.
Great lesson.
And it really, he's a very good kid, and he's got a lot of me in him. And
What a blessing. I mean, so many life lessons there. We could go another segment just on that, and the fact that look at everyone, all those names that I read off during the initial time together. Every one of them wants you to talk about Adam. And so, Danny, whether they tolerate you or not, I don't know, but obviously they love your son.
Absolutely. And Robin. They love Adam and Robin, and I'm the questionable third. Driver guy.
Yes. Yeah. Just get the car, Danny. Just get the car.
Driver guy. I got it.
Yeah. But I think when you look at it, hey, what a legacy. You're obviously going to have one professionally, and what a legacy on the personal family side of Adam has made an impact in so many people of all ages and in all areas when he's encountered them and when he's come into contact with them. I think the thing I loved the most was when I got a chance to meet and work with him for a couple of days at the office. What I loved was the fact that he's very engaging. He's not a sideline. Okay. To use a sports metaphor, that's not the guy that's, just lucky to be dressed out. No, he's in game day. He's got the ball. If it's up to him, he's in charge. He's got the ball and he's calling the play. He's not interested in someone coaching him. He knows what needs to be done. Now let's do it. And
Sure.
I think, when you see some people today, especially after COVID, okay, if you will, a lot of people kind of got, different reasons socially, just maybe they weren't in groups as much, but you hear different people talk about how it changed, a lot of people that they're not as comfortable now talking. And, when you talk to Adam, you can tell he's ready for the microphone at any time.
And I will tell you this very quick. I mean, he works at the senior center here in Maryville 2 days a week with the older folks, and he helps them with games and activities and stuff like an athletic director. But there's also a guy there who's older than Adam, who's had a very, very rough adult life, very rough, and has a lot of challenges. And in the 6 to 9 months that Adam has worked with him, Adam has changed his life.
Wow.
Adam has brought him out. He had never been to a football game in his life. He comes to every Maryville game now and sits with us. He comes to watch Adam coach the 9 and 10-year-olds. They go out to eat together. Adam calls him every other day to make sure he's doing okay. He feels, and I've only known him for a short period of time, so I don't know all this history, but I know it was bad. And Adam has brought him alive as a
Wow.
person and helps him every day. And to watch it is amazing. And that's just being real, being a friend, and being
Sure.
someone that helps him and guides him. Do this, don't do that, let's on. And I'm as proud of that as anything that he has done.
No, I love it. Great, great story there. And I'm sure Adam will be giving us many more years of great stories. And you guys keep going to those games. I think that's
Oh,
a great
absolutely.
connection. I think that's a great connection. I think for our next person up, we've got Gordon Bruner, and he says, have Danny talk a little bit about the internship story, which I think may play right along with all this.
It will. Adam did a summer while he was at Maryville College for class credit of working for someone else. And he went to work for Gordon. And Gordon and I have been longtime friends for many, many years. We spoke earlier about opportunities. I gave Gordon his start in the industry, and he paid me back 1,000,000 times with all the work he did for Ruby's for many years. And so Adam was working for Gordon, and he was back in the warehouse one day, and he looked back there and he saw this carpet, rolls of carpet. We're back to carpet again. And he sees all these
You're
rolls of
going to need to
carpet.
be a carpet buyer, I can
Yeah,
tell you.
exactly. And it says Ruby Tuesday on it. Well, of course, he knows that's his dad's company. Comes home at night and he goes, hey, what's all that carpet doing at Gordon's? Well, I don't know. I have no idea. Sandra, who you and I both know, was the purchasing lady, and Sandra had, I guess, ordered a little too much carpet. It must run in facilities. And she had sent it to Gordon to store it until she was ready to use it. And it was going to be there a while, and she didn't want to pay for it. She didn't tell me. She didn't need to. She probably didn't want to. And okay, and I'm like, where's this carpet coming from? Because I don't know. They said it's Sandra's. So I called Sandra the next morning. I'm like, hey, you want to tell me about all this carpets in the back of Gordon's warehouse? And she goes, how'd you know? She said, did you go over there? I'm like, no, I'll never go over there. I said, Adam told me. She said, well, Adam needs to learn to shut up. Probably. So I called Gordon. I said, hey, little life lesson here. You call Adam into your office and you talk to him about what you say and what you don't say. He said, okay. So he calls Adam over the loudspeaker to his office. That scares Adam to death. He comes in there. Gordon said, I need to talk to you about something. He said, understand, I will never lie to your dad. Never. And he said, but there are things that if your dad doesn't know, it's okay. It's okay. Your dad doesn't know everything. He thinks he does, and he's close, but he doesn't. This carpet, Sandra asked me to hold on to till she found a home for it, and I'm trying to help her out. Your dad didn't need to know anything about that carpet. You realize what you did? And Adams, yes, sir. He said, so, if it needs to be told to your dad, I will do it. I won't lie to him. If he ever asks me about it, I'd tell him. But he didn't ask, so I don't have to tell him. Well, they go through this whole thing. Kevin, from that day forward, Adam would come home from work and I'd go, how's your day? He goes, can't tell you. Where'd y'all go for lunch? Can't tell you. I'm like, he never said a word. He never even acknowledged where the office was from that point on. I mean, it was the best life lesson ever. That kid never said a word.
He's learned the epitome of, hey, you better keep it on the home team.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't talk about it. And he didn't. He never said a word.
I love it.
Point forward, but a great life lesson to learn.
Your dad he knows a lot, but he doesn't know everything.
He don't know everything.
And he doesn't need to know everything. I love it. All right. Well, our next one up is Anna G. Saylor. I think she's her question is, hey, what would you hope your professional restaurant facilities legacy is? And wow, it's already huge. So spend a little time on that. Take a facet of that and go with it.
Legacy is a big term. I don't know that I'm deserving of that. But what I would say is Kevin is, and very kind of Angie, we are as close to friends as two human beings can be. And I just think that I wanted to help people. I like to help people. I love to have conversations with people, never scared, talked all the time. In my job, I tried not to ask anybody on my team to do anything I wouldn't do. Sometimes I probably did too much and I should have left some of it alone, but there was never going to be a question of Danny's making me do it because he won't. That wasn't going to happen. And I think trying to help people, pass on advice to people from lessons I had learned. I've said many times, Lee Wallace and Dan Bettis were my two mentors. They taught me more than somebody should with a kid and gave me a chance and pushed me as, and it was the late 70s, early 80s, a lot of yelling, cussing. But I got it and I understood.
It was a different management style.
Yeah, if they quit yelling, I couldn't come back. That's how it worked. I got it. And so getting yelled at mean they still had a whimper of chance that you might make it, And I learned and I took that and then I tried to pass it along, but to help people and be a customer service person, because in facilities, that's what you really are. You're a customer service person and understand from that customer what they need, why they're upset, and work to help them. And so if legacy is anything, is trying to help people. I tried to do that in RIFMA, help people, pass along information, lessons learned, things that I have learned. But try to be a good person, be authentic. You spoke about that earlier. I think being who you are is important. People see fake, they learn fake. They want real.
That's good.
And I tried to always be real.
Danny, you've been a lot of things since I've known you. Fake is not one of them. It's not your strong suit. I think, if anything, I think bluntness and just being very direct has served you well. So, and a lot of other people also. Let's turn a page here to someone that's very dear to you, Debbie Kinzel.
Sure.
She's got some really neat compliments and her thoughts about you and the impact you've made in her life. I want to read a couple of them, then just kind of want to give you an opportunity to go from there, and just also maybe what Debbie has really kind of meant to you, because I know she's done a lot for both of us.
Sure.
So one of the things that Debbie mentions is the thing that has been the most influential to me is Danny's availability and attention. Every time I talk to him, I feel like I have his full attention. This has impacted me to be a better listener and a leader of a team. Wow. In today's world of 1,000 bells and 1,000 reminders and all the different alarms that go off, the text, the TV, music, people knocking on your door, sound like you're fully engaged. So touch on that in a minute. Also, just a great comment here from Debbie on, we worked closely, Danny and I did for many years, as Danny was the chair and treasurer, but at a different level than now. When I became executive director, Danny treated me as a peer and really built my confidence and helped me to take on the role and succeed. And I've relied on him many times for advice. Wow. Let's just take those two. You can pick both those apart because, frankly, what every leader wants to be known for is I give great advice, and I'm going to help build you up so that you can take on that next challenge. And go ahead.
It's very kind, and she's a wonderful, wonderful human being, and we've been very good friends for a long time. And I think for the first part is when you are speaking to someone, you want them to listen to you, not on their phone, not playing around, not yeah, or I hear you, I got you, yeah, then stop. Listen. That's what you want. Listen. And if that's what you want, you owe it to every conversation you have to be a listener and listen to them and give them your full attention and let them speak and try to help them. And you know this too, Kevin, you always don't have the answers. What you can do is you can be a friend, you can be a mentor, you can be a peer, and you can listen and you can offer suggestions. The way you actually really want it to happen is they come to you with issues and they talk and you start asking lots of questions, and at the end of it, they get it figured out on their own through their questions without asking, what do you want to do? And I always would turn that question around and go, what do you want to do? What do you think you ought to do? At the end of the day, I wanted you to get to the question. So I think listening is a skill set that people should have, and it helps you give them the opportunity, and then you try to give them as best advice as you can. For the second part, I was an executive director, never been around one except Tracy before Debbie took the job. But there's a learning thing about leadership and how leaders lead and what they need to do. And the important part of being a leader is knowing what your strengths are and being very familiar with what your weaknesses are.
Wow, that's a
Of
good
all
one.
the things I've ever done, I got that part. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm really not good at. And focus on what I'm good at and try to stay away from the things I'm not. And
Can't be everything to everybody.
no, you can't. And I think for Debbie in those conversations was just, let's talk about all these things that you've been doing for years and what you're good at. It's just going to be a bigger role of doing them. What you do and how you do it doesn't change. You just do it for more. And I think that was kind of the message. And support, be who you are. Don't change because the job changed. And I think that's critical.
I love that. I think when you talk about people already doing the job, probably a level above, a lot of people in today's world are doing a job above where they're currently at. It just would be a bigger playing field, a larger scope, larger circle of influence. And so you're right. I think that was great guidance to Debbie, is let her see she's already doing it.
Sure.
It's just a bigger field, a bigger stage.
Sure, absolutely.
So no, great comments there. Got so Robbie Terrell, obviously great great person, great friend.
Sure.
You guys go way back. I've got a very good relationship with her as well. In fact, one of the best things she and I have in common is we get a chance to sometimes make fun of you, Danny, or give hard Danny lessons of, hey, don't let Danny hear that happened. So let's kick into a little bit about what she says. She's got here that Danny always treated me and my team as a partner. And so, I'm seeing a couple of those in this as we're talking through it. And, when you say you think it's important to be real, be yourself. And I think that's why we're seeing these consistencies where these people are seeing the same you. Not everybody's, you don't hear anyone saying, well, I can't believe that. That doesn't sound like Danny. It sounds like you have been consistent in the messaging and who you are. And she also goes on to say he was always very detailed in his expectations and wanted both of us to succeed. And what I liked about that one was, and then want to turn it over to you on this comment, but what I liked about that one was, and so many things are on today's world talk about pricing and trying to get it, down to just keep drilling that price, getting it down. And hey, there is a segment of the business that it has to do that in certain conversations. But I think the takeaway, what she was saying as a vendor partner, was that, hey, you wanted to be fair on price, that she wasn't going to make her annual bonus off of you in one job, that it was going to take consistent performance, consistent delivery of your high standards, but you were setting her up for success by clearly communicating what success looked like. So,
and Robbie's a tremendous friend for a very, very long time. And I think, Kevin, the piece was, as a partner is what you should treat them as, because typically as a restaurateur, if you're the facility person, you're picking the vendors. Okay. That's part of my team. It's extended part of my team.
Yes.
I need them to be my partner. This is not a win-lose.
Sure.
And when it goes wrong, I need to be man enough standing there with my superiors and defend my vendor because I picked them. and be there to help them. That's a huge part, because both people need to win. Both people, they need to make money. Never question that in my life. My whole job was to decide how much money. Not are you going to make money? I need you making money, so you'll continue to work for me. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you what I need from the, at the time, Ruby Tuesday perspective. But I also need to hear, what do you need? Because it's not all about what I need. It's about, what do you need too to make it work? What can I do? Well, you can make sure all my bills are paid in 30 days. Okay, you got it. I'll buzz accounting. I'll do whatever I need to. What do you need to be successful? Because at the end of the day, Kevin, I want all the excuses to go out the window. I don't want any.
That's great.
You got to do it. You just do it. And I think you're a facility person. I've seen a whole lot of people that are facility managers. First time their vendor makes a mistake somewhere, I'm looking for a new one. Well, you'll always be looking for a new one because you'll never find them. Back to my carpet story. I didn't get fired for ordering 4,000 yards of carpet. Thank God, because I didn't make that mistake ever again. But sometimes on the facility side, we're quick to jump. Part of that is you didn't teach well. And they made mistakes because you didn't teach.
Great comment there. And we could go a long time just about when Robbie talks a little bit about, gave us details in your expectations and wanted both of us to succeed. And so I'm sure that there have been plenty of times where if you would say, if they followed the playbook, then they'll do great. And that job should go off without a hitch. But when they stub their toe, even if they got off script, you're also saying, hey, you can't let everybody go off of a one-time mistake.
No.
I think there's a life lesson in there just on grace in general.
Well, it's about understanding. I mean, you on your side of the fence, you're making them every day too. Okay. I mean, give me the opportunity to fix it and so on. And you should do the same with your vendors. And then you have to take a hard look at yourself. Is part of that my fault because I didn't teach? I didn't explain as well as I should have. I caused part of the problem. That's hard for people to do. Very hard.
Wow. Okay. No, great management and life lessons comments there. Talk a little bit about, Robbie goes on and talk a little bit about your very long-term partnerships, not just with her, but when you look at the group of people that were kind enough to take a few minutes, send us a question, send us a comment that we've covered over these couple of sessions. I think, if you added up the number of years that that these people that we talked about, the Keith Moores, Robbie Terrell, Gordon Bruner, Debbie Kinzel, Angie G. Saylor, Lynn Harshfinger, Tracy Thompson, Jack Quartercamp, Jack McNerney, Terry Bowerly, and this time, Michael Zagrafis. And so I got them all in there. And if you look at that, it would be scary, I think, if we tried to add up the number of years, one, that you've known these people, and two, the total number of years of people's experience. And so you have a great skill of maintaining great relationships with people that are, pillars in the, and just in leadership in general. And so talk a little bit about that. What's the secret to that? I know you mentioned, hey, every now and then you got to let them be able to make a mistake, but I'd say there's probably a couple other things in there that you're like, well, the reason why this all works and the reason why these people still choose to call you friend, and because you're no longer paying these people. At one point, you probably paid a good percentage of these to work, and yet these are still people that are near and dear to you. So take it from there.
Yeah, Kevin, in talking about people that you start to work with and so on, and you're doing business with them, and over time they become very good friends. I think there's a couple of keys there that really matter. One's consistency in you and what you're about. I know most of my close friends and most of the group that we spoke about today who are very close friends. I kind of know where they're coming from. I kind of know where they are. I kind of know what to expect stuff. I'm really not going to get anything totally out of left field. And I think consistency is critical. I think the fact that I know and they know how much I care about them, and I know how much they care about me. And so if there's something that needs to be talked about or helped during a difficult time, those people are going to be there, as I am going to be for them. And then I think it's trust.
That's a good
Anybody in the group that we mentioned today comes to me and says, hey, Danny, either one, I still need your help, which I actually will gladly do anytime, or something I don't agree with. I'm okay.
Sure.
I'm listening. I'm all ears in that because I know it's being said with the intent to help. And I think all those things is what matters.
I think when you look at our group of everyone that's participated and you count their years of service, both in the industry along with yours, and then also at RIFMA, you mentioned on some cornerstones there of, pretty much some honesty, for sure, consistency. I think at those relationships, the honesty becomes easier because you have the relationship.
Sure.
And I would say that when I look at that, the group of people that we've talked about during these segments, that's kind of how you've led your career, is everyone you've done business with. And I got an opportunity to watch that when I was working with you at Ruby's. was just real honest feedback. And when people were doing great, you were the first um, to bring that contractor or vendor in and congratulate them in front of us and job well done. And at the same time, we both know we always break some eggs. And, I think we talked earlier about how you can't let everybody go that makes a mistake. And I think when you talk about the consistency there, everyone that you've done business with, they want to do their best for you. And so you get to where you almost find you don't have to worry about them being honest. They're going to call you and tell you, hey,
Sure.
I messed up. We had a problem. Here's how I'm fixing it, because they don't want to let you down. And I think that speaks volumes just about longevity.
It does. It does. And you're right. It does make it easier, And I just thought I was going to be one of those people that, if it's good, I want to tell you it's good. If it's bad, I want to tell you. I'm not going to dance around it. I'm not going to keep it from you and you get a letter in the mail that says you're gone. That's not a very good style to me. I'm going to
Sure.
tell you, here's what happened. Here's why you're wrong. This is what you got to do. And if they move forward with that, life moves on. It's never talked about again. If they choose not to move along and get it corrected, and we continue to spend a whole lot of time with it, then it's not productive for either one of us. But at the end of it, it's right up front. You
No,
know,
I love it. And I think they appreciate that. And so
yeah,
that's been a good takeaway for me and something I've been able to um, certainly kind of try and follow that trail on. And then last piece I had that I think everybody will enjoy. And so Michael Zagrafis, counterpart here at Darden, um, I started working for him um, several years ago. And then he was uh, good enough to kind of get me developed and ready to go for the next opportunity. And now he and I constantly bat things back and forth, and he continues to. I would say he's an A+ player in his knowledge and in his leadership, and just a great person to work with. But he had one question for you, just on maybe what's a special memory for you, or something that maybe not everybody knows about in regards to RIFMA.
sure. And Michael's a great guy. I was on committees with him, overlapped on some board time as well. Very smart, very articulate in the way that he goes about his business. I think I would say I got a lot of them. But I think one of the best was we were in Tampa, had a huge opening party out on the patio and the lawn at the hotel that we were staying at. And Tracy had come up with this thing. It was during a time of flash mobs that were everywhere all over college campuses. And she had this brilliant idea that we would take the board and some other folks, and we would be the flash mob. She way overrated our ability to perform. That was not good. We had to go out and recruit some more of the younger folks to get them out there and put them in the front so that this wouldn't look as bad as we thought. And then we would have practice every day. Well, you know as well as I do, Kevin, at the conference, you got a lot going on, a lot of
Yeah,
meetings, a
for
lot of
sure.
stuff. Take an hour out to do dance practice with a dance instructor. That was different. I know McNerdy said no. I know Rain said no, but basically everybody else said, okay, we'll do it. And we practiced a couple times. And so you have this whole RIFMA group out there on the courtyard, and all of a sudden here comes the music. And so we divided into three groups, and group one was all the younger folks that could really dance, and so we kind of fake them off. Group two is not very good, but okay, follow along best you can. Group three, stay in the back, and that's what
If
we
I
had.
recall, I was a 3+.
You were
I
three
was a
plus.
I was a three
I
plus.
Yeah, American Bandstand Soul Train wasn't calling, Carringer. That's just all I'm letting you know here. But we got out there and we danced, and it was funny. And people, once they caught on to what was going on, thought it was really funny. But then the best part of the whole thing was we bring Roger Goldstein out in a banana suit. And it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And I just think, one, was it fun? Yeah. Was it crazy? Yeah. But just an example of, okay, we'll all do it, and we'll all join in at various degrees of
Sure.
ability and do something for the organization. I just thought that's something that I'll remember for forever.
Well, hopefully there's not too many videos of that circulating around, but
I
maybe
put
that's
one
for
out
another
a few weeks
segment.
ago. If you want to catch your moves, you can definitely go see it.
I was struggling, I'm sure, but Danny, any parting words from you? I thoroughly got to tell you, I've loved being able to be a part of these last two segments with you. I know you're going to continue to do great things, and I think now we just got to redefine greatness for you, which means, hey, you've been super successful in the industry and in RIFMA, and now we got to make sure you recoup some time for Danny and family.
That's very kind, Kevin, and I really appreciate the opportunity for you taking the time and kind of spearheading this and kind of getting a bunch of folks together to participate. And just a quick shout out to those people. Keith Moore, Keith's my no guy. Keith's the guy who looks me in the face and goes, "You're dead wrong." Keith helped me fix a long-term friendship that had went south, and his push to make it right and get it back to normal is tremendous, because I fought him for months about it, and finally just realized needed to be done, and he fixed something very important. Jack McNerney, the best leader we ever had at RIFMA. That's why he has an award named after him. Just the best leader, best facility person that I ever saw. Jack Camp, as my son calls him, the plumber. Uh, but Jack, just a world of advice and help, and the ability to talk about anything and make you feel better about the conversation when you're
True,
done.
true.
Lynn Harshenfigger, one of my closest friends, that I talk to a lot, try to help. She helps me. Just an absolute great person with a great heart to do anything that she can. Terry Byerly, one of the original members of the Hat Club that we had some fun with for years. TV been a special friend for a long time. Um, Tracy and Debbie, the two executive directors of RIFMA, I wouldn't be sitting here today without all their help. Probably same comments you would have, and
Sure.
just their leadership, their ability to get people to do things, and then above all that, their friendship, and their friendship kind of tops the whole thing. But two
For sure.
great people. Gordon Bruner, guy did tons and tons, as did you, of work with for Ruby Tuesday. Really could not have accomplished a lot of the work that got done during some very difficult times without his company and his leadership
Hmm.
from the vendor side, and very great to see his company really flourish, and a true friend for many years. Energy and Robbie, both two of what used to be called the Big Four, along with myself and Patrick Henson, and just two ladies that are ungodly special in my life, of time spent, of friendship, of the ability to be there anytime you need them, and then anticipate you need them before you know you need them. And I mean, I think that's a special quality. And last, we talked about Zukafis, and just a very upstanding person who does great things every day, and better than I.
He
You get to
does.
work with him every single day. So I appreciate that, Kevin. I wanted to give a shout out to you. Last year at the conference, I spoke with my boss, Josh Solon, and one of the things I said while you were in the room was the role you're taught when you go into leadership is, when you come out the other side, you have taught and helped mentor your people that work on your team to be better than you. And Kevin, I said that in the room last year. You're if that's the goal, I did my job because you're better than I am at this, and I'm proud of that.
I appreciate you
And
saying
what
that.
you have done, and so that means I kind of got it right. So very
Well,
special.
if that means I order the carpet a little better than you, that's probably about it. But that's the
I,
only one that's the only one.
I
That's the only
guarantee.
one.
I guarantee you did that. Now, payroll fast enough for my son, probably not, but the rest of it was good.
But no, thank you, Danny.
Kevin, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it. Lots of a new opportunity of some kind, and just thanks to everybody for all the kind words and you taking the time to kind of put this together. It means a lot, really a
Yeah,
lot.
it's been something that's been special to me. We won't forget it, and I'm looking forward to watching it. So thank you again for letting me participate, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you all for FM Corner for listening. We will have 2 episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks, part 1 and then part 2 with all the questions that Kevin spoke about and the answers I've gotten. So thanks so much for listening.